It's always great catching up with my next guest. Volkan Oezdemir is going to be back in action against Paul Craig, UFC London, July 23rd. Volkan, how are you, man?
I'm great, thank you. What about you?
I'm doing awesome. You went out for dinner. Where did you go? What did you have for dinner?
So I went just to a Greek place. So I'm currently in Stockholm. I've been training here now for 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks, and in my new gym, Allstar. Allstar Sweden. I moved there. Now I'm gonna be training here permanently. So yeah, it's actually a good place, good move, and I really I like it over there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually going to be my first question. You kind of jumped into it already. Tell me how this came together with you joining the All-Star team, moving to Sweden. Was there a connection, or how did you end up training there?
Yeah. So the first thing it was we spent a lot of fight weeks together with Khamzat and the guy, the coach, and everybody from All Star during my last fight in Abu Dhabi.
Mhm.
We were also in the same locker room, and during that time we spoke a lot. And the manager over there, they invited me to come over to train, just to enjoy and stuff. But we've been talking also for some times, maybe about making some change. And my last fight, unfortunately ended up in a loss. So I think it was also time, for me to go out of my comfort zone, and that was the perfect timing, because this happens. I went there. A few weeks later, I tried out, and I came back a few times just to make sure everything was good, and now I'm officially here.
That's awesome. Glad to hear the change has gone well. What a gym that is. All-Stars, Khamzat Chimaev, Gustafsson. There's so many good fighters that train there. How, I don't know the geography or anything. I'm a Canadian. How long of a distance is it from back home in Switzerland to Sweden? How much of a trek is it?
Yeah, for by flight it's like a 2 hour 45. It's almost three
Oh, okay.
hours flight, so it's not too far away.
Oh, great.
Same
Okay.
time zone, so it's perfect. Because also the problem, like when I was training in the US, for example, was the time zone. It's
Mhm.
always a trouble. It's a pain in the ass. Your family. It's like Miami was 6 hour difference, but imagine being in LA or something is it's already more annoying. You just live
Yeah.
in the other side of the world.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, glad that's worked out well. So I imagine because of the moving and going to a new gym, that's why we haven't seen you since October, or were you trying to get a fight in between there?
No, I was waiting to get a fight. Obviously, I can't fight it in the US right now, so that's a little bit also of the problem. Um, I wanted to be in the last London card in March, but it didn't happen. I didn't find any opponent, and this time, I'm on. So I got this fight, and then I want to be present. I really want to be on the scene. Fighting again. So after this fight, I'm gonna get my hand raised, and hopefully I will be fighting for Paris. Because the first UFC in France, I want to be on it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it would be disappointing if you weren't on that card. It would be great as someone who's Swiss. I know that would be an honor to fight in Paris. Let's talk about your opponent here, Paul Craig. I think it's pretty simple if you look at the style matchup here. He's going to try and submit you. I mean, he's got one of the best ground games in the weight class. Is it as simple as that, or am I missing anything, Volkan?
No, obviously it's simple because everybody has their own strength and stuff, but it's also MMA.
Mhm.
If you look at the last title fight in my division, Glover Teixiera, a
Mhm.
known black belt, got submitted by Jiri, and that's
That's true.
something really crazy. And that's what makes the beauty of the MMA game.
Mhm.
It's not only about those little stuff styles. It's like UFC top 10 guys. It's we know about everything. Obviously everybody likes to do stuff better, but everybody's well rounded.
Mhm.
But obviously everybody has his own strengths, and something they like to utilize. So yeah, I mean, I'm a known striker, he's a known grappler, so it's to who's gonna make his better game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. What did you make of his last fight against Krylov? Did you? I imagine you watched that fight, right? Because I think some people felt like he was losing the fight, and then he was able to come back and get the submission. Did you feel that way, or did you even watch the fight?
Yeah, that's a little bit about the thing about him. He's taking a lot of damage. He's showing himself weak, and at the end of the day, it's almost like he's baiting them, and
Mhm.
like I want to say in English, like Gator, like they wait, and then they just
Yeah.
close their mouth, and that's what happened with this triangle, and so you cannot be overconfident with him, even if you rock him and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a dangerous game.
You talked about a training camp there. Who have you had a chance to work with? I mentioned some of the names there. Who are and I was looking on Instagram too. I see some of the names that you get to work with. Who have been some of the main training partners for this camp?
Alex, because obviously Alex is fighting on the same night as me. He's fighting
Mhm.
Krylov.
Mhm.
Um, so we actually both fighting tall guys. So for me, it's perfect to have Alex here. And we have a lot of people that actually come and go. We have one of the guy that's been there also for a while was will fight one day before me in Cage Warriors, Niglas. So it's gonna be good. We're gonna be on the same place. We're gonna be celebrating the victories together. And yeah, a lot of guys. Mostly Alex, Khamzat. I got some guys also that came and go, and Mateus was also helping me a lot. A lot of different guys over there.
Yeah, a lot of really good names, like you mentioned there. You mentioned Chimaev. I got to ask, what's it like getting to train with him? Because I know he's a welterweight, but he's a pretty strong guy. We've seen him compete at 185 as well.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's maybe taller than me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. He's and right now he's off camp. So he's also big. So he's obviously a beast. He's training really hard.
Mhm.
He's always at the gym pushing and giving his all because I think he has unlimited cardio. It's really crazy. So
Mhm.
every time you go, you with him, you have to go for real, even though you're tired from the previous day, from the previous workout. Because at the gym here, we actually train a lot. So I'm really surprised about myself first, because I can take it.
Mhm.
And I think I never trained as much as now. In number of hours in my days, I think it's the most I ever done in a fight camp.
That's great. And what's Chimaev like outside of training? We see him with Darren Till. It seems like he's got a bit of a personality. What's he like outside of the training room?
Now, like what you see, it's what it is, with him. It's he's not a fake person.
Mhm.
He's a personality. He's a genuine guy. It's he doesn't act.
Mhm.
So every obviously, what you see about Darren also is crazy. So when they're together, obviously you see some cool stuff,
Mhm.
perfect for the videos and stuff. But no, they're both great guys. That's really awesome to be able to hang and train around them.
And you fought for a UFC title. Do you see that potential with Chimaev of him being a champion? Some people feel that way with the run he's gone in the UFC.
Yeah, definitely. Shimaev is championship material. He has it. He is already. It's a different vibes are with him.
Yeah. And just one last teammate I wanted to bring up, just because he got a big win last week. Sai, I don't want to butcher his last name, but your teammate who beat Rory MacDonald last week, that was a huge win for him. That must have been a nice boost for the team.
Yeah, definitely. We know how good he is. And how hard it is to fight him, to take him down, to what is a really great prospect. So this was probably his biggest victories, and he's gonna be in the tournament now, next round. In the tournament, and it's really great for him and for everybody else that's obviously support him.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight with the new team?
I get the main coach, the jiu-jitsu coach, so and one other coach, ex-fighter. So Reza, Andreas, and Alan Fifu, the jiu-jitsu coach.
Okay, that's cool. And how do you envision the fight playing out on July 23rd? What's your prediction for the fight?
I'm just gonna do myself. Obviously, playing my games, doing my stuff, coming with all my strength. I think it's gonna be a good game for me because I'm gonna be punching the hell out of in on his face.
Mhm.
This is gonna be my will that I'm gonna impose, my game, and I know he cannot take a punch like the one I'm gonna give it to him. So obviously I'm gonna do this, prevent all the attacks that he's gonna do, and end up victorious.
You talked about it there, wanting to get on UFC Paris. That would sort of be ideal for you. Is the plan, I imagine, to stay at light heavyweight? And the reason I mention that is because I know you've also fought at heavyweight in your career. Is that something you'd ever consider moving up?
No, I think if I do weight class change, he has to make sense. He has to be for something. So
Mhm.
obviously, it has to be a big fight or something. Whatever happened off the scene with somebody or something, He has to be for a good reason because my mind is on the UFC belt. In my division, like 205 division.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that makes sense for sure. And remind me, how many more fights do you have left on your contract? Do you know?
I still have 4 fights left.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. Did you just sign a new contract then? Because usually that is how they do it, is 4 fights at a time. Did you sign a new deal or
Yeah,
was it last fight?
for the Jiri fight, I had the new contract.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. That's great to hear. And you mentioned his name earlier, Israel Adesanya. What did you make of his win last weekend at UFC 276? Maybe not the most exciting fight, but he's fighting a really tough guy in Jared Cannonier.
Tough guy, and I don't think he has a lot to worry about. That's the thing about Adesanya. He's playing the fight that you bring to him, right?
Mhm.
So he's not gonna do much. I think much more. I'm saying,
Mhm.
not taking any more risk than he should. But he was a master class.
Yeah.
He was never in danger. He was never breathing hard. He was never caught by any big punches. So props to him.
And you also referenced another fight as well, Jiri Prochakza and Glover Teixiera. Where does that rank for you in best fights of all time? I mean, that was just a crazy performance from both guys. And Glover losing by submission, I don't think anyone expected that with what Yuri's been able to do.
Yeah, obviously it was really crazy. Once you push somebody at a certain limit, then you can get anything you want from him.
Mhm.
And that's what we saw with that fight. It was crazy, 5 round of craziness. One of the best fight of the year, definitely. One of the best of the history. And it was a back and forth war. So obviously, after this, if you still, the more lucid fighter, obviously everything can happen.
And just my last question, just because he went in the Hall of Fame last week, Daniel Cormier, someone I know you got a chance to compete against. What stands out to you in his career in terms of him going into the Hall of Fame? I think winning the heavyweight title was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the year after my fight was his best year. He got the double weight. He was a double champ. Got his belt from Stipe. One of the greatest heavyweight of all time. Defended. He was the highest peak of his career. So obviously I'm really happy for him. And Roy, he made history. There is nothing much more to say about that.
It's great. And nothing more to say in this interview, Volkan. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it and glad to hear everything's going well with the transition to living in Sweden. If there's anyone you'd like to thank or any sponsors you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Thank you, James. I really appreciate for the time also as well, and thanks for everybody else.
Perfect.